Here is a Bible story, courtesy of the New Yorker. And there came from the land of Britain a prophet, whose name was Jeremy. And he cried aloud in the wilderness and said, Behold, I bring you hope. And it came to pass in the land of Britain that the high priestess went unto the people and said, Behold, I bring ye tidings of great joy. For on the 8th day of the 6th month there shall be a general election. And the people said, Not another one. And they waxed wroth against the high priestess, and said, Didst thou not swear, even unto 7 times, that thou wouldst not call a snap election? And the high priestess said, I know, but Brexit is come upon us, and I must go into battle against the tribes of France, Germany, and sundry other holiday destinations. And I must put on the armour of a strong majority in the people's house. Therefore, go ye out and vote. And there came from the temple pollsters, who said, Surely this woman will flourish, for her enemy is as grass. She cutteth him down. He is as straw in the wind, and he will blow away. And the trumpet of her triumph shall sound in all the land. And the high priestess said, Piece of cake. And there came from the same country a prophet, whose name was Jeremy. His beard was as the pelt of beasts, and his raiments were not of the finest. And he cried aloud in the wilderness and said, Behold, I bring you hope. And suddenly there was with him a host of young people. And he said unto them, Ye shall study and grow wise in all things, and I shall not ask ye for gold. And the sick shall be made well, and they also will heal freely. And he promised unto them all manner of goodly things. And the young people said unto him, How shall these things be rendered, seeing that thou hast no money in thy purse? And he spake unto them in a voice of sounding brass, and said, Soak the rich, and again pull down the mighty from their seats. And the young people went absolutely nuts. And they were hearkened unto the word of Jeremy, and believed. For they said unto themselves, Lo, he bringeth unto us the desire of our hearts. He cometh by bicycle, with a helmet upon his head. And he eateth neither flesh nor fowl, according to the scriptures. For man cannot live by bread alone. But hummus is quite a different matter. And the high priestess saw all these things and was sore. And she gathered unto her the chief scribes and the Pharisees, and said unto them, What the hell's going on? And they said unto her, It is a blip, as it were a rough place upon the road. But they said unto themselves, When the government was upon her shoulders, this woman was mighty. But now that she's gone abroad unto every corner of the land, she stumbleth. For surely it is written that ruling and campaigning are as oil and water, and there shall be no concord betwixt them. And the chief scribes wrote upon tablets, saying, Jeremy is false of tongue, he hideth wickedness in his heart, and his sums do not add up. And nobody paid any attention. And the elders rose up and said to the young people, If ye choose Jeremy, he will bring distress in your toils, and wailing upon your streets. Do ye not remember the 1970s? And the young people said, The what? And the elders spake again and said to the young people, Beware, for he gave succour in days of yore to the IRA, And the young people said, "The what?" And the young people said, "Jeremy shall bring peace unto all nations, for he hateth the engines of war that take wing across the heavens, and he showeth respect for all peoples, even unto the transgender community." And the elders said, "The what?" And it came to pass that the heathen of this land came among the people with fire and sword, and slew many among the faithful, and great was the lamentation. And the high priestess waxed exceeding wroth, and said to the people, "Fear not, for I shall bind your wounds, and give ye shelter from the heathen, and shall take up the sword against them." And there came again pollsters from the temple, who said, "Will the people not vote for her in this her hour of need?" And nobody paid any attention. And it came to the vote. And the elders went up to vote, and the young people. And the young people were as a multitude, and in the hours of darkness there was much counting. And the young people watched by night, and the elders went to bed. And there came in the morning news that the high priestess had vanquished the prophet Jeremy. But the triumph of the high priestess was as the width of a nail, and she was vexed. And the elders and the chief scribes and the Pharisees spoke among themselves, yea, even the corners of their houses. And there was great rejoicing amidst the multitude of the young, and they took strong wine, and did feast among themselves, and there were 12 baskets left over. And of the pollsters there was no sign. And the people saw Jeremy, and said, "Surely this man has won. Doth he not skip in gladness, like a young hart upon the hills?" And there was great murmuring among the elders, and they said unto themselves, "Weep not, for the high priestess doth but prepare the way. Cometh thee not one who is greater than she?" And they said, "Behold, for the hour of the Redeemer is upon us, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Prince of Peace." And they cried in one voice, "Boris!" And the young people said, "Oh, shit." And the people gave tongue, and made supplication unto the Lord, saying, "Lord, let our cry come unto thee." And the Lord thought the whole thing was absolutely hilarious. And then the people said, "Lord, what shall we do regarding Brexit? For henceforth the high priestess shall be as weak as a newborn lamb. How shall we hope for continued access to the single market?" And the Lord said, "The what?"